Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we are previewing Gameweek 17. In tonight's show we'll be discussing each upcoming Gameweek fixture, predicting the potential key players, differentials and clean sheets. We'll also be talking captaincy, revealing our teams, the planned transfers, the Cougar Cup picks, as well as answering some of your questions. And in fact, it's quite a lot tonight, so thank you all for sending those in. Before we get into the show, we just want to take a moment to say if you haven't subscribed to us on the platform you're currently watching or listening to us on, then please do that right now. Kieran and I have been trying our best to preview every game week this season, and we're going to keep doing that all the way through to game week 38, so it'd be great to have you with us. Now then, Kieran, that's that bit out of the way. Let's talk about game week 16. Talk about some points, please.
Should we? I don't know if you've got anything down for 15. Obviously,
we haven't,
because we didn't. Yeah, it was one day in between the weeks, wasn't it? So we didn't get a chance to do a video. But yeah, I got 62 in that one, which was from 140k to 126k, which is a decent green arrow. And then game week 16, I got 63, so I'm nothing but consistent. 126k to a red arrow of 1k to 127k. So basically going nowhere. So this week I got Kelly off the bench for Mane with the 8-pointer. Son again with some points, 12. I think it was a goal and assist, wasn't it, for him? And then Jimenez assist, which is nice. And then the big man Vardy, 2 goals, captain, 26-pointer, max bonus. And then the rest all blanked. So average, let's say. But I suppose 20 points above the average. But actually, no, 10 points. But I've still sort of had a small red arrow. But what can you do?
Yeah, a tiny one. Well, at least you had 11 players who return points for you. I had 2 players in my team who had 0 points this week, so that was a Pope in goal and Marvellous Nakambia, who came on for Mane. I was saying to you on Saturday, wasn't I? He's a guaranteed 2-pointer off the bench there. And he got a yellow, and I see that he later got subbed before the 60th minute.
He did,
so, pretty poor. I ended on 56. I only had, I think it was 3-point returners this game week. I had Kelly, Son, and Vardy. And everyone else just had appearance points, so it's quite a boring game week for me. But 56 was just 2 above the average. I slipped from 340k to 415 maybe, so it's quite a big drop considering it was above the average. But I had a little look, and it's all quite bunched up around that sort of area. So we move on, and let's talk about people who have done quite well here. And let's talk about the manager of the week in the FPL Cougar Cup League.
All right, with a silky smooth score, which is actually his team name as well, from Shah Mahod, 91 points, no chips played. For some reason, it doesn't let me see the game week rank because it was a few days ago, and it's not loading for some reason. But anyway, he's 77th in the Cub League. His team, he had Kelly with 8 points, Ali with 9, Madison with 9 as well, who could have got more. He was unlucky to not get more. Salah and Mane double up. Obviously, Mane didn't play. Salah with the 13. Mane, I assume he got Kelly off the bench for Mane. And then Vardy captain is pretty much everyone. Ings as well with 8 points, and then Rashford with 9 as well. So a lot of his players did well. And 91 points is really big.
Stacked. Nice score indeed. It's looking quite tight at the top of the FPL Cougars mini league. If you've still not joined, or if it's one of the first times you've joined us, then the code to join is on screen there. But for anyone listening in their ears, or I don't know, out of a stereo, how else do people listen, Kieran? That's about it, isn't it?
In a car, maybe.
In a car, not bad. The code to join is DJUUZ6. So whack that in and join our private league. It's Michael, I think it's Zordoni, who's top at the moment. He's got 1,023 points. He's joint top with Joel Albrechian, I guess that's how you pronounce that. But congratulations to both of those. Top in the FPL Cougars mini league is no mean feat. So well done. On to our Cougar Cup picks, which I think were from game week 14, weren't they? Because we obviously didn't do a preview show.
15,
16. Okay.
So I went back and looked at what we picked. So you picked Muse, or Musi as you like to call him. Which was Newcastle at home and Norwich away, and you got 3 points from him. One, I think he got a yellow card in, and then the other he went off injured in both of them, I think, actually. And he's injured again now, so 3 points. I picked Trossard, who had Arsenal away and Wolves at home. Obviously, he came off the bench for Arsenal, got assist, I think. He got 5 points in that one, and then 1 point at the Wolves at home. So yeah, 6-3 in those 2 weeks, and and then totals wise, I'm on 43 and you're on 52. So yeah, small 3 point gain on you there, but yeah, not much. But yeah, need something to go right this week.
Why doesn't Potter play Trossard more? Because I feel like I've heard the sentence he came off the bench and got an assist quite a lot this season.
That's what I mean. Like whenever he seems to play, he gets something. Yeah. But so I don't know. Honestly, I think he should be playing more.
Yeah, I like him. All right. Should we move on and talk about the fixtures for Game Week 17, Kieran? Because I think that's why we're here, aren't we? Preview each of those one by one. I think the early kickoff on Saturday. I say think. I know it's Liverpool against Watford. Obviously, it looks like a home win in this one. I suppose that my main thinking ahead of the game week is whether to captain a Liverpool asset over a Leicester one. I mean, they've both got such red hot fixtures. Mane had a rest last time out away against Bournemouth. Salah's come back into form, scored 2 goals and 2 now because he scored in the Champions League last night, I believe. And how do you see? I imagine you see it as a home win, but are you tempted by Mane for captaincy this week?
I think the answer is no.
And that's solid no.
Just straight up, no. It's Vardy or nothing at the moment. But yeah, I mean, you consider it. They'll probably do well, but I think Vardy's probably going to get more. And yeah, hits Vardy stats are way above everyone else. So yeah, I think it's just Vardy or nothing. Like I said last week and the weeks before, it's just Vardy until he blanks, I think. And yeah, because the man's on fire. But yeah, Salah, obviously, against Bournemouth away in just one game, stats-wise, he had the most shots of the week. This is for midfielders. XG was the highest of XG of 1.26. Key passes was the highest at 4. XA of 0.7, which was first as well. Big chances first of 2. So yeah, you kind of get the picture with him in that game against Bournemouth, and he obviously has history in that game too. And yeah, stellar performance. And obviously against Holzberg looked really good as well. I think he missed something like 4 big chances as well in that game. So yeah, I think he looks injury free now, back to his sharp best, possibly at least. And obviously that finish in the Champions League was exceptional. So yeah, their fixtures are pretty poor though. I mean, obviously Watford at home is nice. So if you've got the Salah Mane double up, you're probably going to do really well this week. And then obviously you got the blank next week. Then Leicester away, difficult obviously. Wolves at home, difficult again. Sheffield United at home, difficult you'd expect. Because I think they played them this year and it was a 1-0 win?
It was, yeah.
Or 2-1 or something. And then, yeah, Tottenham away after that. So the next 5, including the blank, is tough. But, you know, if Salah is fit, then he can be fixture-proof if he's on form, obviously. So I don't think they're fixtures to shy away from so much, but I think they'll be difficult, at least. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we'll probably talk about it a little bit next week, but I take it for Mane and Trent, you're just happy to bench them for this 1 week, even despite those sort of trickier fixtures on the other side, just because, okay. Yeah, if I had 3, then I would consider taking one out for someone. But I have 12 players still that I can play that week with just benching those 2. If something happens this week, I think 4 of my players might be on 4 yellow cards. Oh, so if one of those gets another one, then I might have to worry about something. But for now, I think I'm just benching and just deal with it. Yeah. Interestingly, for Watford, they've got Deeney back now, which might make some sort of difference. I saw they've sort of been pinning their hopes on him, but I don't think they didn't get last week, did it? No, it didn't. I don't think they're going to trouble Liverpool. Like, having a look at their stats, they've only had 1 goal in their last 4, which is worse than the league, and they've only created 2 big chances in the last 4, which is joint second worst. And added on top of that, they've not scored in their last 3 games against Liverpool. So I think all the signs sort of point towards a Liverpool clean sheet this week. I mean, we've been saying it for weeks, but they actually got one against Bournemouth. They got one in the Champions League last night. I reckon they can make it 3 in a week this weekend in this early fixture. I mean, talking of that clean sheet for Liverpool against Bournemouth, obviously, with Trent being benched. Obviously, most of us have waited for a clean sheet for Trent for a long time now. And benched, comes on after the 30 minutes mark and doesn't get it. And obviously Robertson does get it, Van Dijk does get it, all those guys. And it's just, that's a kick in the teeth, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Liverpool stomped this one last season as well. 5-0 it was. I'd look back at last season's goal scorers. I'd quite like to see who does well from a historical point of view. And it was actually Mane and VVD that did the damage last season. Both got 2 goals each. And Liverpool have scored at least 2 in the last 15 home matches now, so I'd expect that to continue this weekend. I think it's... sorry.
Which was the fixture where all the defenders got the returns? Was it this one?
It might have been this game, because VVD got two goals, and I think a lot of the assists came from Trent and Robertson.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, interesting.
So that was that one last season. But I just don't think anything looks good for Watford at the moment. They've obviously got their new manager in place, but they've got Liverpool United, Sheffield United in the next 3. Maybe there could be some interest in Aston Villa, Wolves, but the fact they're just so uninteresting from an attacking and a defensive point of view, I can't really recommend any of their players. The only one I sort of mentioned or thought worth mentioning over the Christmas period, because people are looking for, let's say, a stocking filler, let's say a bench filler. Craig Cathcart is 4.3 million, so he's the joint cheapest outfield starting player in FPL this season, along with Rico at the moment. So he's only 1.6.
Kelly's 4.3 now as well.
Oh, okay. That's a good point. I suppose someone who's been nailed on in their team is what I mean. I suppose Kelly's been in and out, and he's only playing because of an injury. But yeah, that makes sense. Okay, he's played all but 2.5 games when he was injured. So yeah, I think Cathcart's a real squad budget filler.
Yep.
Big win for Liverpool, we think.
I think so.
Should we move on to Burnley against Newcastle?
Yes.
I think Nick Pope's going to have to score more than 0 points to justify me not thinking about selling him again, Kieran. Because they've conceded 11 in their last 3, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
They're typically good against the big sides, and this season they've just been getting pummeled by them.
Yeah, not that many save points either, really. He's dropped down to, I think it was 9th in the goalkeeper standings now. Obviously, he's not too far behind. It's only like 4 or 5 points or something, but still, his fixtures look like he should get a few clean sheets in the next 3. So if you've got him, you're probably going to want to hold on to him. But Newcastle are kind of doing all right at the moment. They're scoring, so I don't actually think there'll be a clean sheet this week.
No.
Bournemouth away, that's probably your best shout. I don't think Everton will be a clean sheet. So 1 in the next 3, and then you got Man United at home and Aston Villa at home. I can't see clean sheets there either, really. So 1 in the next 5.
Maybe.
Yeah,
it's a strange one. The only reason I've been interested in Burnley this season is from a defensive point of view, and if Pope's not doing the business, like you said about the save points, that was like in seasons gone, that would be his bread and butter, racking up the saves and getting bonus, and that was what most of his points would come from. But this season, he's I don't know. He looked poor, like you say, in the Palace game. He was poor, and he looked poor against Spurs. I mean, there was that one. I know Harry Kane hit it pretty hard from outside the box, but I mean, it looked like it was fairly close to him. And there has been a little bit of talk. I'd noticed that a couple of Burnley fans were saying, it might be time for him to get rotated and give that younger lad a chance. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't think so either.
But it's funny. Newcastle did really well, didn't they, the other week when they went away to Sheffield United and pulled off that 2-0 win on the road. So a Sheffield United team who you think this season have been quite defensive. I could see them putting in a similar performance.
If he's at fault for any goals this week, then his position might be in jeopardy.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. On the Newcastle side of things, there hasn't been really too many attacking players to highlight because they've only had...
Oh, are you sure? There's one definitely.
Well, if it's John Joe Shelby, maybe Kieran. But I mean, how sustainable is that going to be? They've created 2 big chances in the last 4, which is joint second worst with Watford. And the goals have come from, as is consistent with Newcastle, defenders, and now John Joe Shelby. He's got 4 goals in 6. 4 goals in 6 games. And obviously that whipped in cross from Andy Carroll, Kieran, so he's back on our radars for sure.
He's a mini bandwagon, Shelby is. Just like Vestergaard earlier in the season. You see him racking up them points over the last few weeks.
It's actually quite scary.
Shelby's in.
Oh, God. I thought it was interesting, actually, looking back last season, Newcastle won both of the games against Burnley. Obviously, Rafa was in charge then, so it's slightly different. But the players who scored are all in the Newcastle team at the moment, Shah, Longstaff and Clark, and based on Fernandez's goal scoring form, he's got 4 attacking returns this season. So for a 4.4 million defender who's like going to sit on your bench and maybe come in when someone misses out like Amani, that's actually not a bad return. He's only owned by 0.3% as well, so he's a bit of a differential. And he and Shelby sort of highlights because of their performance in the last couple of games. But yeah, maybe ones to consider if you're looking. At this time of year, I'm like thinking about bench a lot because my squad, didn't talk about it in the review, but everyone on my bench scored 0 points last week. And that's a bit of a worry as we move into like Christmas when there's going to be even more rotation and big premium players are going to get, I don't know, a game off maybe or a surprise benching. So you've got to have that strong squad. And when you see, value picks like in, I suppose you say the sides in the bottom half of the table doing quite well, now is the sort of time to consider them.
Yeah, I've had 3 playing bench players for a long time now, and obviously with Kelly being first bench this week, it paid off. So I didn't get those 8 points, I would have been, further down the ranking for sure, and I had a big red arrow. So yeah, over Christmas it's we're seeing Trent being benched, we're seeing Mane being benched. Like Liverpool are only going to get more rotation, I would imagine, and even City if they start losing more. Or start drawing more, they're probably going to start putting their attention to the Champions League properly. Yeah. So even more rotation from Pep is possible. So, yeah. It's
a strange time of the season. It's like you say for City. It just, we'll talk about them a little bit more later, but they're really sort of dissolving or my trust in them as fantasy assets is really dwindling these last couple of weeks. And I don't know, some of the comments Pep said after that United game, we'll get onto that a bit later, but it makes me think it now might be a time to bail out on City while they've got a few tricky away games coming up. Do you want to say any more on Burnley against Newcastle?
No, I do not.
Nothing at all on it, Kieran?
No, that's all good.
All right, let's move on and talk about Chelsea against Bournemouth. Bournemouth, one of the least, surprisingly, one of the least exciting sides in the Premier League in the last 5 games because, Kieran, they've lost all 5 of their last 5. Why is it that Howe never is mentioned in like who's going to get sacked next discussions?
I don't know. I guess he's just got clout, hasn't he? He's been the longest serving manager now, and in the Premier League, and so I don't know any longer. I guess than the next 3. Assume they lose maybe all 3.
Yeah.
Then if that, how many is that? Would that be in a row? Then
that would be 8. They're currently on 5, so they're only 1 point above relegation now.
Yeah, if Bournemouth get into relegation area, then they'll have to start thinking about it for sure. But then again, he can definitely turn it around. We've seen it before with them. They've gone on runs, so I'm not too worried about them yet. I think they're definitely still Premiership quality. They need to get Wilson firing. Simple as that, really. Callum Wilson, but he went off injured, didn't he? And then King is injured too. I assume Callum will be all right, but Solanke up top on his own.
It's not exciting.
Not great.
Wilson's been playing for them for the last 4 game weeks, and they've only created 1 big chance in that time, and that's the worst in the league. You don't associate Bournemouth with being a sort of nullified attacking force. It was the start of the season. We were both getting really excited about Fraser again coming in at a good price. I had him at the start of the season. I can't remember if you did, but
I didn't,
because there was that sort of like contract, I don't know, rumblings in the summer. It looks like they've tried to phase him out, but it hasn't helped their squad this season. They've been so poor in an attacking sense. I had a look at all of their players, and so of all the players in the Bournemouth squad, it seems like Harry Wilson has been performing the best in the last 4 game weeks, but that's not even saying much. He obviously got those goals against Spurs to boost his numbers up, but he's 15 points in the last 4 games. I think the next best is 11, so that's under. The next best is at sort of like under a 3 point per game average. So none of the team are performing well at the moment, and I can't see myself reinvesting in them until I think at least game week 20, when they do have a good run. They got 8 games where they don't play any of the traditional top 6, and they got home fixtures against Watford, Brighton, Villa, away games against Norwich and West Ham. But for now, Bournemouth just seem a real no-go zone.
I agree. None of them I fancy really at the moment because they just look so woeful. Even their whole, they could have a bad first 11 that are all injured sort of thing. So their injury crisis is bad. Let's be honest. So Chelsea away this week. Chelsea at home, I think they're just going to smash them, right? Obviously Tammy scored in the Champions League. Hopefully not getting rid of all of his goals before this game. But yeah, Mount was rested in that game. I assume rested at least, not dropped. And I'll speak about this later as well. I've sold Mount this week. He's finally gone for me. Bit reluctantly. Same with the other person that I took out. It's a reluctant transfer, but I don't know. Hopefully Tammy is the main guy in this. I'm expecting Mount to hurt me, but hopefully it's not badly. What do you think?
Yeah, well, we'll get on to our transfers at the end maybe, but it feels like a bit of I suppose it is a little bit of a risk-taking Mount out, but
it is, yeah.
Considering he's been prone to rotation and he hasn't exactly been prolific in recent game weeks, I think that goal against Villa was like his first goal, or his only goal in his last maybe 6 or 7 games, so I feel like he's dropping down the pecking order of important players to Chelsea. Abraham's still leading the line there after coming back after the injury and playing so well against Villa.
Pulisic played last night and came off at 65-ish minutes, so he'll probably start again at the weekend. So there's no issues with that, I don't think. So it's Mount whether he comes on. I think is the only thing now, because he's back in the back. Not the back, the sort of midfield 3 now. He's never in the sort of front 3. So even though he does get a lot of forward runs, his goal potential is definitely lessened.
Oh, definitely. I can't see anything really but a Chelsea win here, and it's a funny one because in a normal sort of given game week, you'd think a Chelsea home game against Bournemouth would be a real good chance of captaincy, even for Abraham, who's notoriously not done as well at home this season. But because of those Leicester and Liverpool fixtures this week, it makes it tricky.
To be honest, I would, if I was going to go anywhere else other than Vardy, I think I would be tempted by Abraham this week.
What, more so than Liverpool too?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. I just kind of fancy him.
Okay.
I think Bournemouth is so bad that their whole defence is crud at the moment and injured that it just maybe it's one of those sort of painfully obvious that someone's going to haul games and they don't. But it just feels like all the sort of factors are there for Chelsea to smash them for 4 or 5-0 or something.
I can see that as well. Also, actually, probably worth mentioning before we move on about Tomori, because Rudiger came back in the Champions League last night. Tomori had been getting benched, I think, for 2 of the last 3. Wasn't he benched at Everton and benched against Villa? Lampard said at the weekend, wasn't it, that he had a muscle strain or something in his leg, I think.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so now with Rudiger back, it seems like Tomori might have lost his place, or at least be dropped down the pecking order. So if you were
he's about to sign his new contract though, so there's obviously that. Obviously, new contracts seem to come in when they're doing well, and they want to keep them at the club, and he should be playing. So I don't really think he's ever done anything wrong to be dropped. I don't know if he's been injured this whole time.
Yeah, maybe.
So, I think if you have him, you need to just check the next couple, and then because you've probably got decent bench options at least. But
because Christensen, I was going to say Christensen hasn't exactly been playing well, has he?
No, and I don't think he's nailed on either, obviously. And I'm not sure Rudiger's going to be either, because he's so injury prone, isn't he? So, I mean, James, he looks kind of nailed on at the moment. He didn't play in Champions League, I guess rested for the Premier League. He's played, I think, 4 of the last 5. I think he came off the bench on one of them as well. And he got his first attacking return last week, I believe. Yeah, I mean, I like him, especially in this fixture, whipping those balls into Tammy's head. He's only 5.0 as well, so, and 0.3% owned, I believe.
Yeah, he's a big fixture. So they have got some decent home fixtures in the next 5 against Bournemouth and Southampton, but they do have some tricky away games. London derbies against Tottenham and Arsenal, and then they've got that trip down to the South Coast to play against Brighton. So I could maybe see that 2 clean sheets in the home games, but otherwise, I think they'll be up against it in those away games.
Agree. I think their fixtures are still, I mean, until Game Week 23, obviously they do have those tough away games. I think they're still good fixtures.
Yeah.
And then, but 24 to 27, they got 4 traditional red FDR fixtures and top 6 sort of teams in a row. So that's tough.
All right. Okay. Should we move on from Chelsea? Do you want to give me a score prediction? Because I think it could be double figures, couldn't it? This one.
Well, yeah. I'm going to go a 3-0.
Ooh, Okay, 3. I think
Tammy brace.
I feel like it's going to be one of those games where Bournemouth jump up or double their big chances numbers in the last 4. I think they're going to get one and score one. I think it's going to be 4-1. Going for a big score. Leicester against...
Harry Wilson free kick, maybe?
Harry Wilson free kick. It's always a Harry Wilson free kick. So, let's go with that.
True.
Leicester against Norwich. Our man, Jamie Kieran. Our man, Jamie. Why have we not doubled on their attack? When I see Maddison get an assist like he did at the weekend, I'm like, why have I still got cronies like De Bruyne in my team?
Well, yeah, we've talked about it quite a few times, haven't we? That we don't really trust them. But I don't know, now that they... I don't know, Maddison does look very, very good compared to Tielemans. I think we've talked before about sort of Maddison versus Tielemans, and it hasn't looked like there's a huge difference, really. Maddison has been on top, but not massively in the way that you could say that Maddison is definitely the better pick. But I mean, over the last 4 weeks, those two, the stats difference is crazy now. So the XG wise is 1.2 versus 0.07 for Maddison.
That's
so
huge.
XA, is 1.84 versus 0.62, and that's huge too. Shots 9 versus 4, big chances 2 versus 0, key passes 13 versus 5, big chances created 3 versus 1, and points wise 24 versus 10. So Tielemans is, although those stats aren't too bad for a 6.3-ish, I think it's 6.3, isn't it? But yeah, Maddison at that sort of 7.5-ish area is doing a lot better. That's for sure. It's obvious which is the better pick now, and I've said I wanted Maddison for quite a while, but I've just never been able to get on him, and it still doesn't look I'm going to be able to get onto him at any time soon. So it's just unfortunate, but their fixtures are kind of after, I think they've got Man City and Liverpool both away after Norwich, but then after that they've got a great run of fixtures again, so maybe then it's time to get Maddison. They got West Ham away, Newcastle away, Southampton at home, Burnley away, West Ham at home, so those run looks great for a triple up, assuming they're still doing well.
I kind of fancy them to beat Liverpool. I feel like that's going to be Liverpool's first loss this season.
Really?
And for how many games? Yeah, I just feel like that's the game after Liverpool travel back. If Leicester can keep this momentum going, their stats, their numbers have been fantastic for expected goals and expected assists. They're doing the best.
I suppose they are at home.
The best in the league. Yeah, I just feel like it's on Boxing Day. The crowd's going to be right up for it. I feel like the players will be too. I think that's going to be the one where Liverpool finally lose a game. And like you say, from then onwards, they do have some really nice fixtures. So I think I'm going to be joining the triple Leicester up party, and I think I'm going to get Maddison in my team. That's because the fixtures look so good.
Yeah, agree. Okay, so Vardy-wise, I'll have a question to ask you in a minute.
Okay.
So he's at 10.1 million now. I don't think we'd ever expect Vardy to be at that sort of price. But yeah, 50.5% own him now. If you don't own him, you're probably not even actively playing the game. Absolute FPL monster. Not blanked in 8 game weeks since week 8 versus Liverpool. And then the week before that, he got a 12-point haul. So, yeah, he's just been consistent all year. I think the only slight issue is being his blanks have come against top 6 sides. Chelsea, Man United, Tottenham, and Liverpool are all 2 points. And he's got 2 of the top 6 in the next 3 weeks, hasn't he? So, but, we probably wouldn't sell him, would we?
No.
We'd just play him and just expect, obviously, at 50%, you can't really be taking that risk, I would say. Stats wise, last 4 weeks his XG is 5.29, which is massive compared to the second place, which is Rashford at 3.14. 16 shots, 10 on target, 16 in the box, 10 big chances, which is massive. 4 key passes, 2 big chances created, an XA of 1.55, so he's also creating assists. 5 goals, 1 assist, 36 points in the last 4 weeks. Obviously without captain, that is. So he's just a monster right now. And my question to you was going to be, obviously, bar this Norwich game, are you going to captain him in Man City way, Liverpool way?
Maybe. Well, it's actually...
Or Liverpool at home, sorry.
It's an interesting week next week because Liverpool have obviously got there's a blank, and Man City and Leicester play each other.
Yeah.
I think United have got a tricky away game as well. So I think captaincy next week's going to be a really interesting option. But you mean United played...
Well, I think United played Watford, away.
Oh,
I don't think that's tricky.
Yeah, maybe not then. All right,
but,
maybe United. But just the fact that Leicester have been that good and Man City look that... I suppose not really porous at the back, but they're really susceptible to counter-attacks. I feel like Jamie Vardy up against John Stones, Otamendi, whoever they put up against him, he's going to do some damage. So I don't know if I captain
City
him.
have already conceded in the Champions League tonight as well.
Yeah.
Just so, yeah, carry on.
No, defence is not looking good at the moment. I also quite like the fact that Vardy's on to break his sort of like goals scored in consecutive games, and I feel like... I'm not 100% because I didn't check this before we came on, but I think he can tie it in the Liverpool game because I think he's on 8 at the moment, and I think his record is 11. So if he scores Norwich City and then Liverpool, he'll tie it with a chance to break it in that West Ham game, which was an amazing run. And I don't see... I can't see him not scoring against Norwich this weekend. They've conceded...
So exactly.
Yeah, so I think it's...
So why would we not captain him if we think he's going to carry on that run and want to try and break it? Yeah. It's just a reliable captaincy shout.
Oh, he definitely is. I might even captain in that Liverpool home game, but
that's the only one you think that you probably... I think against City, I think you definitely can, just because 50% own him and a lot of people will just still captain him. And like we said, City can't defend at the moment. John Stones and Otamendi and Fernandinho are pretty bad. So, I like the shout of Vardy in 18.
Yeah, it could work out. I think Norwich rock up to Leicester, and they just have been so poor on the road. So they conceded at least 2 in 6 of the last 8 away games. But interestingly, they're joint 4th for big chances in their last 4 away games, which is pretty decent, really, considering they haven't been picking up the results. So it could be quite an open game if Norwich play their normal or try and play their normal offensive football against Leicester. I think they're going to get found out quite easily, and they don't really have the ability to sort of sit in and defend against teams. So unlike Watford, I feel like Watford could put up a bit of a better defensive shield, if that makes sense, against teams where Norwich have to just only really know one way of playing, and that so far this season that really hasn't been a defensive way.
Did you find it hilarious how obviously Cantwell was benched for quite a few weeks, and then comes back and gets those hauls in 2 weeks in a row, and everyone's like, oh my god, Cantwell needs to get back on him, and then he gets benched again. I thought that was really funny, because I was thinking, I've made a huge mistake of getting rid of him because he's going to be the great first choice bench midfielder guy and over Christmas, but then that happens and it's just like, why? He's doing so well. So why has he been benched? That's funny.
I feel sorry for any Cantwell owners who banked or expected him to start, because it does look like he is prone to rotation even despite those good returns to form. But
he always comes on as well. He plays. He's played a minute in every game. So
I suppose if you
start him and he doesn't start, then it's bad.
Yeah, if you got him at 4-5 at the start of the season, and I think it's worth keeping hold of him, but because he's a reliable person to play the games. But from an FPL point of view, none of their players are really inspiring me at the moment. Pookie and Cantwell have been their top 2 best scoring players in the last 4 game weeks with 23 and 21 points respectively. Interesting, the shots in the box. Pookie's actually not doing too badly amongst all forwards at the moment with 8. I think it was 6 actually in the last 4. But oddly, that's tied with Cantwell, who's also got 6. To put that in perspective, that's only 1 fewer than Son's had, and Son's been actually tearing things up in the last 4. So, some not bad numbers. I think that sort of like comes into the way they've been playing, just because they're so offensively minded. But I can't see them getting anything up against that Leicester backline this weekend.
You say that, I think Pookie will score this week.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, what, and ruin our clean sheets?
Yep. Oh, unfortunately so. I hope not, but I got a feeling he'll score.
Right. Well, let's move on then and forget about the ruined clean sheets and talk about Sheffield United, Aston Villa, both of which have got quite good fixture runs coming up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sheffield United, we thought about forgetting about clean sheets being ruined, but Sheffield United are screwing us over in that regard at the moment. They've not kept a clean sheet in 5 weeks. A lot of people looked at these fixtures and doubled up or even tripled up on their defence, and that's obviously coming back to bite them in the arse. No clean sheets in 5 weeks. They've had 2 very favourable fixtures in that time, which was Newcastle and Norwich. Those 2 not keeping a clean sheet, which you would probably bank on, is not feeling good there. But yeah, their XG over the last 4 weeks has been 6.43 with 6 scored, XGC of 4.71 with 7 conceded. So
it's quite a big difference.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know if the teams are starting to figure them out, figure out their sort of overlapping centre backs. I mean, XG wise, they're scoring goals, but they're just not keeping the clean sheets anymore. So yeah, I mean, Baldock at 4.7 million. Obviously, he's the 5th overall scoring defender now. He's had 2 goals, 3 assists for 4.7 million over the season, which is, I don't know, that feels pretty good to me. But obviously, bread and butter is clean sheets, which they had been good at. And if they can start to pick up a few again, then yeah, he seems like great value. And obviously, Lundstrom, no return since Gameweek 11 with his 21-point haul. He's been a little bit unlucky. He could have got some goal. I think he was had a VAR goal ruled out last week. But yeah, no return since Gameweek 11, as I said. So time to probably start picking and choosing when to start him. I don't think he's definitely an auto start anymore. But yeah, Sheffield United, Aston Villa at home. I don't think that's a clean sheet. Do you?
No. Well, Aston Villa have been good on the road.
They have
recently in scoring goals, but they've also been conceding them as well. So I do think this is going to be an open game. And actually, looking back at the fixtures last season, I thought that would be interesting to compare because both teams have got pretty much the same players and they've both had the same managers. Can you believe there were 11 goals in just 2 games that they played each other in last season?
Okay, great.
There was I think it was a 3-3 and maybe a 4-1, something like that. That's the right numbers. Well, Sheffield United won 4-1. And the 3-3. In that game, there wasn't really. I think it was Mings who scored, and it was a bunch of. Billy Sharp basically got every goal for Sheffield United, and I think Baldock actually got one, and O'Connell. So yeah, there were plenty of goals in the game, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were plenty of goals in this one, just because, like I say, Sheffield United's defensive form seems to have dropped off a little bit in recent weeks, and Villa are always good for a sneaky goal away from home. Like they proved that against Chelsea, against United recently. I'm not that concerned about them coming up against Villa. Currently, I've got Lundstrom bench. Is that something you've thought about doing?
Have we got our teams up on the screen?
I've got mine up for some reason, but yours isn't. So you just talk about your team, and then I'll make sure it's up because it's not done properly.
So right, let me have a look again. So yeah, at the moment I have Lundstrom starting. But I have I've bought in Grealish, so yeah, spoiler and transfers. And the 4 yellow card thing is an issue, I admit. But I don't think it's enough for me to not go for him. Just because he might not get a yellow card. He is a bit of a little shit, but at the same time,
technical
like
term.
You know, we've seen players not get yellow cards. It's Costa, as people remember a few years back, where he was on 4 yellow cards and everyone sort of shied away from getting him because obviously you know what he's like. But then he went on a massive run of scoring goals and points and didn't get that yellow card for ages. So hopefully Grealish does something like that. And I am tempted to bench Lundstrom. The only reason he's still starting ahead of Kelly first bench is just because he's out of position and he's got the potential to score. So if he was just a straight defender, I would probably bench him for Kelly. But at the same time, there's the potential for more points from attacking returns. And like I said, he was unlucky not to get anything last week. So I think I'm probably going to leave it like that and leave Kelly on the bench and expect some rotation maybe. I hope that Kelly benching doesn't ruin me. But there's if Sheffield United can get back to being good defensively as well, then I'll be happy to take that clean sheet because a lot of people are going to be playing Lundstrom. A lot of people are going to have the double defense. So yeah, he's still 47% owned. So it's hard not to play him this week at least at home to a struggling team, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a tricky one for me as well because, like you say about the ownership, and I've like you brought Grealish in this week just because he's been playing so well. So 6.1 million now. He rose the other evening. Still less than 8% ownership, and he's got 7 returns in his last 9 starts. So the form has been there for quite a long time with him. He's had 10 shots in the box in the last 4. That's the joint most of all midfielders under 8 million. So He's outperforming a lot of more expensive midfielders, Mount included, who I transferred him for. I think you got rid of Mount as well, didn't you?
Yep,
Yeah,
I did.
11 key passes in the last 4 as well. That's only behind Maddison and Silva, and 5.7 points per 90 in the last 4. So when you sort of look at stats like that and you see how well he's been doing and the consistency, you sort of feel like he's probably going to continue that run away against Sheffield United, who haven't been cleaning sheets. Flip side of that is because you're then banking on Lundstrom to score goals, and he hasn't done that for, like you say, in a few maybe 6 or so game weeks now. And if he's not really an attacking midfielder, he's just sort of been getting those sort of late runs into the box.
I think he is. I think he is the one that gets there more than Fleck and Norwood and stuff. He's one of the sort of guys just kind of behind the front two. I think so. I mean, you're not banking on it, but he has the opportunity to do it because he is in midfield and he's a defender, and so it's more likely that he's going to get it than another defender like Bulldog or whatever. So, I think the right play for me, I think, is to start both of them.
Well, at the moment, I've backed Kelly and Crystal Palace, and Lundstrom's sitting pretty on my first sub bench, but it's a long way to go until that Saturday morning, and see what happens then. One of my moves this week was to sort of disembark on the double Sheffield United defence. I got rid of O'Connell and brought in Kelly, and I was pleased I did it because my score would have been a lot worse without Kelly in there. So getting out on double Sheffield United ahead of the Christmas period is probably I hope it's going to be quite good with Palace's fixtures, but we shall see.
Yeah, and obviously another reason to bring in Grealish, despite his form, is their fixtures. Obviously Sheffield United away, Southampton at home, Norwich at home, Watford away, Burnley away. Those next few are great, probably as good as they can get. So
yeah, it makes. I mean, I've already missed out on good fixtures with Ings so far this season. Like, I was so set on getting him, talked him up for weeks, and the fixtures were good, and I just didn't do it, and I don't really know why. And he's got so many points. But let's talk about. So I'm just keen to get on teams with some good fixtures. So let's talk about Ings now and Southampton and West Ham, because that's another one that's happening on Saturday, isn't it?
I mean, whenever I see goal from Southampton pop up, I just know it's Ings, and it chills me to my core. I hate the man with a passion right now, because he's just so consistent. He's scored in the last 5 weeks in a row. It's just it kills me every time I see it.
You need to get him then.
Nah, I don't trust him. As much as he's consistent, I do not trust the guy. And as soon as I get him, he'll blank. So I'm going nowhere near him this year.
He's like the Saints talisman,
even though he's consistent. But nah, it's just Saints are crap, and he'll start being crap soon. So
I like how just like dead certain you are about this. Like you even admit, like, as soon as you see a goal from them, you just know it's going to be Ings, but you just don't want in on that. No.
Now I've got a better 3. I've bought in Rashford. I've bought in. I've got Vardy. I've got Abraham. I'm not getting Ings. There's no one I'm dropping there. So, yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, we won't.
If I can have 4 strikers, I would have them. Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. So there's no one really else for Southampton that's doing it for you. Then I take it.
Not really.
They've done well in recent weeks because of him, and they're sort of creeping towards the edge of that relegation zone, and it's going to be them and Bournemouth, I think, who are separated by a point now heading into this game week. But I just feel like this is going to be such a, I don't know, I think it's going to be another good game for Southampton, and it could be another good game for Ings.
He's going to score again, isn't he?
He is going to score again, yeah. Just warning you. I mean, West Ham are on poor form, apart from that surprise victory at Chelsea. They've been losing at half-time and full-time in 5 of the last 7 games. I think their fixtures aren't the worst, but the fact they've got this blank next game week has really not made me interested in any of their assets, and also not been interested in their assets for a long time. None of them are doing particularly well. I think Cresswell, again, has had the most points in their last 4. I think he's only had 16. So none of the players are really doing the business. I actually thought it was, and also another example of how poor they've been from an attacking sense. Haller, who hasn't actually been playing as much recently, he's had 4 times more shots in the box than any other West Ham player, and that's only 4-1. So there's literally nothing to get excited about, and they've got these games against, I think it's Leicester coming up. They've got a tricky away game against Palace as well after the blank. So yeah, it's a funny time for West Ham. I feel like Pellegrini is just bobbing along, and he's just, I don't know, he'll get sacked soon, but there's worse teams out there.
according to some guy on Twitter that I think we follow, he gets the Southampton game. If he loses that, he's out. Is the rumor?
Okay.
So yeah, I think they've just struggled with Lanzini getting injured. He's such a big player for them, and obviously Anderson just looks woefully out of form. And then Snodgrass is probably not good enough. Fornals is young and he's just not really bedded in properly. And then Yarmolenko, is he injured at the moment? I don't know where he is.
No, I've not seen him
right now.
I
So,
don't know.
yeah, Antonio looks the only one who looks to be okay and trying and sort of does something when he's on the pitch, but he's not reliable either. So, I don't know. They need to just get some more leaders in there, maybe. Do something in the January transfer window. Or just get rid of Pellegrini and see what Big Sam can do.
Yeah, it's Big Sam. I think it's just gone a bit stale, and it's a shame, like you say, because they do have some interesting attacking players. I think Yarmolenko is injured. I just had a little look. I mean, if they can get that, I mean, we said at the start of the season, didn't we, with Haller, Yarmolenko, Anderson, and Lanzini, they were playing well first 4 or 5 game weeks, and we're getting quite excited about them, but they've just fallen off the edge of a cliff. Whether it's motivation, I don't know. It's just a strange one, but they're sort of like the current whipping boys, bar that Chelsea game at the moment. So yeah, Kieran, I think turn your phone off when Saints are playing West Ham this week, because you're just going to see Ings goal notifications come up.
The one thing that is saving me from not getting him, I suppose, is he's only ever getting one return. He doesn't look like he's ever got a double haul in him.
That's true, but he always gets those bonus though. All 3 bonus.
That's true. Well, they lost that game, didn't they? I think.
And he did.
And he still got 2 bonus. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. Because he can't be that involved either. I bet he's not having many passing bonus or anything like that.
I think it's just the accuracy of his shots. He doesn't take many and he scores them. I think you get more bonus for not having many shots off target. All right, should we talk about Man United against Everton? Us new Rashford owners. And it was,
you got him as well, did you?
I did, yeah. I mean, it was last week you were talking about him before the game at the Etihad, and you were thinking, I'm going to get Rashford this week, I'm going to get Grealish this week. Maybe I'll just wait a week because I've got 2 free transfers. I mean, do you regret it now, knowing the points, or are you just sort of like pleased that you're justified that he is in such good form, he's playing well?
Yeah, as you said, I had the 2 transfers and I decided to burn one instead of I those were my moves. They were going to be that all along. I figured I'd just wait a week because the 2 fixtures for those 2 weren't good on paper. But yeah, like you said, justified, I suppose, because they are in form, and knowing that I want them now is just been a good decision, hopefully, at least for you as well, I guess. But yeah, just ruined the opportunity that I could have had a huge week if I got those 2 in, because it would have been for Mount and Jimenez, who got, I think, 7 between them, and Rashford got 9 plus Grealish is 9 as well, so it would have been 18. So yeah, it would have been a nice jump and well above average again. So it would have been a good green arrow. So yeah, what can I do? It's hindsight, I suppose, but I'm glad I've got them now with the good fixtures as well. I think the good managers at the moment have just been playing the fixtures completely, forgetting about loyalties to teams, about that they think they can turn it around or whatever. You just play the fixtures and you go with it.
So, I mean, United do have this good fixture run. Have you got any sort of reservations that they might sort of fall back into the form they had at the start of the season, where they would put in shoddy performances against teams a little further down the league? I mean, we saw only 2 weeks ago that Sheffield United game where they they were getting roundly beaten, and then the week after that they drew with Villa. It's only really been this Tottenham and this City game. Everyone's gone, oh my God, Man United. But they have been struggling against lesser teams, I suppose you'd say.
Yeah, teams that don't attack them. But I think Everton will attack them at least. Obviously, at home, Everton might sit in a bit, but I don't think they're very good at defending at the moment. So, yeah, I think Everton will attack, and the counter-attack opportunities will be there for Rashford and Martial and everyone. So I think that's fine. But yeah, Watford, Newcastle, Burnley, that's where we'll see if they really are in form. And I'm willing to bet that they will be, and Rashford will be. But if it doesn't work, I'm happy to go back to Jimenez or my arch nemesis of Ings. Yeah. And so yeah, he's not a one I have to keep in forever. There's places you can go from Rashford. So, but I think at the time while he's on fire and with the fixtures coming up, it's a no-brainer to own him, I think.
No, I think it makes total sense. I mean, he's been a little bit outperformed sort of stats-wise by Jimenez, but I think Jimenez's next maybe 4 or 5 fixtures are looking a little bit rougher compared to Rashford's nice run. Yep. And even that Arsenal away game in 5 game weeks' time, you think how well they play against the bigger teams and away from home on the break against a team that are going to attack them. I think there could be big returns in that game as well.
Yeah, I mean, his XG is second behind Vardy, as we said earlier, 3.14 compared to Vardy's like 5-ish, but his shots are third for strikers with 14, which was behind Jimenez and Vardy. Like you said, Jimenez's stats are slightly better, but Rashford, like we said, fixtures looking good. Yeah. So happy to own. I assume he'll be rested in the Europa as well, because I think they're through. Yeah. So no worries about him being injured.
No, that should be good. Everton, on the other hand, come off the back of a win. Well, actually, come off on the back of a win against Chelsea at the weekend. Duncan Ferguson's first game in charge. I think he just G'd them up. Wasn't there a stat about they made more tackles in the game at the weekend than they had in like the last, was it 18 months or something crazy like that?
Wow, didn't see that. That's crazy.
Maybe he fired them up. But it was interesting they played with 2 up front. He does that again. That could fall into United's hands. A classic 4-4-2. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison up front. Calvert-Lewin, I think he was highest scoring game week of the season. Only his third time he's played 90 minutes, so it probably shows that Duncan has got a bit of faith in him, unlike Marco Silva. He had 5 shots in the box and 2 big chances against Chelsea. It's quite good numbers. Richarlison looks like he's sort of been improving as well in recent weeks. I noticed that he's now got 14 points in his last 2 away games. He's Everton's best performer in away games, and 2 goals, 3 big chances in that time. I think he could fancy his chances against United this weekend, especially if they go for it and play 2 up front again.
Yeah, I think Richarlison is definitely worth a shout. Those 2 working in tandem seems to work really well, doesn't it? And then we should have seen it coming, I think, with the new manager bounce of Ferguson, because unlike Ljungberg, he's been there for Ljungberg's been there for a while, obviously, but Ferguson's been there for a long time. And he's just the sort of I guess like leader kind of manager. That's the one that's really going to G you up. And I think after their tough fixtures, obviously Man United and Arsenal, I don't think are bad fixtures for them, but it could be time to get on them after that, because they've got a good run after that. And DCL, how much even is he? He's cheap, right?
5 million mark. He might even be 6.
5.7, because he's dropped. He dropped 3 times. So he could be someone to get onto, because he goes on streaky runs. And if Ferguson stays until the end of the season and he and obviously is favoured, then I like the Calvert-Lewin shout. Yeah.
Well, after the United game, they got 2 home fixtures back against Arsenal and Burnley, teams who haven't been defending very well recently, and then they got a trickier away game against Newcastle. So there could be some differential points to be had there.
He's 1.1% owned as well, so
big differential.
Yeah, huge. Imagine those 12 points if you own him last week.
That'd be tasty.
Massive.
Tasty.
Massive.
All right, should we talk about Wolves against Spurs on Sunday? Obviously, you've got rid of Jimenez after only blanking once in the last 6 weeks. Is it the fixtures really that sort of made you think now's the time to get rid of him, as well as Rashford's form?
Like I said, reluctant sell. I'm happy to go back to him if Rashford doesn't work out. 1 blank in 6 weeks, Mr. Consistent, offers assists and goals. Just like I said, Rashford's fixtures plus theirs getting worse, and the fact that I can go back to him and having someone to support for United for once is obviously, I usually don't like Rashford very much, but we're both United fans, so if I can support and get FPL points, that'd be great. Yeah. And there's only 3 striker spots, so Jota last 4 weeks, I have talked about him a little bit, and his stats were very good, but wasn't really leading to points. But obviously this week it did, and he could have had a few more. His XG over the last 4 weeks has been 1.7, 2 big chances, 11 shots, 4 key passes, 21 points. And obviously Jimenez's XG has been 2.23, 15 shots, 10 key passes, which is pretty big. 3 big chances himself, 5 big chances created, and an XA of 2.73. So between them, obviously Jota is lower, but again, there's not that much. It's not that much lower, and Jota is playing all the minutes, and I think he's a worthwhile option. But obviously, he's in that striker spot, which is frustrating. But if it allows you someone like a Son and Ali double up possibly, then I don't see why Jota is a bad pick at all.
That's such a smooth segue into Son and Ali, chat, Kieran. Really nice. It is interesting that
not planned.
Yeah, Spurs defensively haven't been very good on the road. Obviously, Mourinho really celebrated a clean sheet at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium at the weekend, but they conceded at least 2 in 7 of the last 8 away games, so not exactly great. And they've been poor on the road as well. Failed to win in 13 of the last 14. So yeah, they're not looking so good on the road. But since Mourinho's taken over, their attacking form has improved greatly. So they've had 12 big chances. 12 big chances created and 14 big chances in the last 4, which is the second most in the league, just behind Leicester. So
why does that number not level up?
I imagine that I wondered that as well. I imagine it's because like a big chance fell to a player accidentally, like it might have been like a ricochet off a defender or something like that.
Okay, makes sense.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of investment to be had in their forward line. It's just trying to work out their best 2. I mean, I'm getting a little bit disappointed with KDB's sort of lack of attacking return. And when you look at how well Dele and Son are doing, it seems like you can get more attacking output from those 2 for a bit of a cheaper price, I suppose.
Do you trust Ali's form to continue to buy him?
I kind of do, because I feel like Mourinho's positioning him a lot different than Pochettino did, and he's getting the rewards. I mean, it's interesting to see how the penalty area touches have increased just greatly. He's had 20 in the last 4, and I think in the last 2 under Pochettino he'd had 5. And I think the comparison, it's obviously not a fair sample 2 against 4, but I remember looking at it 2 game weeks ago, and he'd more than doubled his penalty area touches, and just the fact that he's actually returning well is obviously cause for interest as well. 8 returns in his last 8 in all comps, so he has been doing well, but it's really under Mourinho he's picked up 14 points in the last 2 games.
I wonder if it was under Mourinho, but before I think he had 2 returns before in the games before Pochettino left.
Yeah,
and it's not like Pochettino was a bad manager or anything. No. Like Ali was injured most of the time of the last year and a half. So it just happens to be that he's come back when Mourinho comes back and he's fit again and he's returning. I don't know if he's ever really changed, but Pochettino just hasn't had the time with him because he's been injured, like so inconsistently injured all the time. So
I think there was definitely a dip in his form, and he's
because of injury.
Yeah, but he's been playing better definitely in the last, and the points I suppose show that he's getting on the end of things in the right way. And that goal he scored at Old Trafford in game week 15 was incredible. So
handball,
maybe. Just comparing the 3 of them, by the 3 of them I mean Son, Dele, and Kane. Kane is sitting so deep, so he's only had 13 penalty area touches in the games Mourinho's taken charge of. So that's the last 4. By comparison, Dele's had 20 and Son's on 26. So it's quite a big gap for Kane down there. They all look like decent options, really. I'd probably rank them in order of Son, Dele, and then Kane third, just because he's blanked, or Kane is blanked in 3 of the last 5. But his haul against Burnley was only his second double digit of the season, and for his price, I think Dele and Son offer more routes to goal. If they're getting further forward, they're getting more points for a goal, and they're getting the clean sheet point, which you'd think is going to come in more frequently under Mourinho.
Fixtures are really good as well, aren't they?
I think they've got Wolves, Chelsea in the next 2. Obviously, Mourinho's going to be loving that Chelsea game at home. And then after that, Brighton, Norwich, Southampton. They've got some really nice ones. So after this Wolves game for them this weekend, I'm thinking of doubling up on Dele over Christmas.
Would you bring him in for KDB?
Yeah, I think so.
In 18?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
What, Chelsea at home?
Yeah, definitely.
And then KDB's got Leicester away?
No, he's got Leicester at home and then Wolves away. I just fancy that Dele at home against Chelsea and Brighton sounds better to me than KDB at home against Leicester and Wolves, and the fact that KDB's form's dropped off a little bit. And he's certainly not getting as far forward as Dele Alli is.
Yeah, I suppose I have talked about earlier about not being loyal to players, just because of their names, I suppose.
And their price almost as well.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah. So I think that probably wraps up my Spurs chat. Have you got anything you want to add on Spurs?
On Spurs themselves, no, not really. Kane's heat map was DM as usual, but he got the goals, so I suppose it doesn't matter. But if you're an owner, I think it would be sideways to switch, don't you? If you've already owned him, wouldn't?
Yeah.
Do you not think?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you're stuck with him if you own him already. But yeah, like I said, Son and Ali probably are the better picks.
Yeah.
And Aurier as well, actually. Kane, Dele, and Aurier all didn't travel to Bayern tonight. Son did, annoyingly. I hope he's benched. I really hope he's benched. I don't want him to play that because then he might not play at the weekend. But yeah, Dele, Kane, Aurier seem to be the three main key players in that Mourinho side. So yeah, Aurier I don't think is a bad shout at all because they are going to keep clean sheets and he gets attacking returns. So yeah, I'm certainly looking at him as well after Chelsea probably for that big run. Yeah.
No, it should be good. All right, let's talk about probably the game I'm looking forward to most this weekend is the Arsenal against Man City game. Two teams that sort of like are in a bit like at the moment. Do you sort of agree? Like Man City just looked like, I don't know, looked a bit defeated after the because they lost, obviously, but even just down on themselves and the way Pep was talking after the game, I just feel like there's been a few results recently. They've lost their way a bit. That game against Newcastle, obviously they bounced back with that thumping win against Burnley, but everyone's being down Burnley at the moment. So Sterling's had 1 return in 6. KDB's had 2 returns in 6. They've both got a much higher expected points total than they've actually got. So Sterling's got expected points of 24, which even this is in the last 4 games. That's not that massive. He's only had 14. KDB has matched him. He's got 24 as well. He's got 21. So interestingly, Sterling's actual points in his last 4 is 4 less than Tim Krul's managed. So if that doesn't give you reason enough to sell him, then I don't know what will.
I think. I was watching a bit of Arsenal fan TV, and I think DT was on about whenever Man City lose, they usually come back or draw or whatever to spank the next team, and Arsenal are obviously up next, and I can see that happening. To be honest, I think I can see some KDB returns. I think he was a bit unlucky in the last game. I think Sterling might haul in this game personally. So obviously I don't own them, and I'm not going to worry about them if they do blank, but. And I don't know, maybe might be being optimistic, but I can see some hauls from both of them here. And yeah, Arsenal looked absolutely woeful for the first half against West Ham. Pretty bad for most of it in the second half, but they had like 30 minutes of good play. Pepe looked really good when he actually started, and especially in the second half. And Aubameyang consistent, isn't he? Yeah. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun game, but I think there's gonna be goals because neither team can defend. But it should be a City win, right?
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, they've been better funnily enough, they've actually been better away from home this season. I think they've scored at least 2 goals in 8 of their last 9 away games, and they've scored 7 and conceded 0 in their last 3 games at the Etihad. At the Emirates. So they've absolutely battered Arsenal each time they've played them, or the last 3 times they've played them. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that continue. Obviously, Pep will sort of relish this one because of Arsenal's poor defensive record. So, yeah. Could see a big score.
Yeah, and I think we talked about rotation earlier, but KDB was benched tonight. Sterling was benched in the Champions League, so he has rotated quite big. And Mendy starts as well, so I imagine Angelino at the moment is maybe nailed on in the Premier League. But yeah, so I think Sterling, KDB could do well. But yeah, on the Arsenal side, Aubameyang consistent as, I suppose, 5, 13, 2 and 12 in his last 4. If he gets a return, usually it's followed by more, so he gets the double returns like when Ings I talked about earlier. Doesn't seem to get that, but actually he's returned against every top 6 side so far this year, which is kind of the opposite to Vardy. At Liverpool away he had 5 points, Tottenham at home he got 9 points, and Man United away he got 9 points. So a player who can consistently perform against the big teams as well as the sort of lower teams, then it's not to be sniffed at, is it? But he's obviously pricey, and we've got 3, 4 really good, cheaper strikers who are performing as consistent, I suppose, in Tammy, Jimenez, Rashford, and Vardy. So, yeah, I think if you've owned him the last 4 weeks and over their really good run, then you've done well. But I just said that they're top 6. He scores against top 6, and they've got half tough fixtures, but he could still do well, to be honest. So I don't know if you would sell him at that point, would you?
No, I think he's on course again, like last season, just to be in the running for the Golden Boot. I mean, he's pricey, and if you time the captaincy right, you are going to get some big scores. And the fact that is he the fourth player to hit 100 points now this season? I think he might be.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
I think it's after Mane, Vardy, and Rashford. Aubameyang joined them on Monday night. So yeah, I think he's just sort of ticks along quietly. And you and I have grumbled, haven't we, for weeks about Aubameyang being played wide. And a couple of weeks ago it was Lacazette's comeback, but it just doesn't take many game weeks for him to, or maybe like a game week against a lower opposition, just for him to add a goal and assist or a couple of goals, and then straight away he's right back up there again. So I think he's almost like a season keeper from that point of view if you don't really want to manage your squad on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. He's only actually blanked 5 times in the whole 5 out of 17 weeks or 16 weeks.
So it's not bad.
That's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, so I think if you're putting together a draft league at the start of the season or draft team, I think he'd probably be in mine because he's going to be there or thereabouts for the Golden Boot again.
And he's played every single minute so far, which last year didn't happen because he was being rotated all over the place. So I think that's kind of strange because he's not young anymore. No. And yeah, to play every single minute is rare for at least for a striker because Abraham he's what 20 if that, and he gets taken off at 60-70 minutes every week. So
and he's the captain now.
Good
Kieran.
choice.
He's the captain. He's got to play every minute of every game, maybe.
Yep.
The last game of the game week is the derby between Palace and Brighton. It's like the fierce derby. They hate each other, don't they? These sets of fans.
Why is it a derby?
I don't really know. I'm sure someone will tell us on the comments, but I just know it to be both teams consider it a derby.
Is it a bird derby?
It's something to do with the birds, yeah. Let's just call it the bird derby. Anyway, Kelly has been a hero for me. Zaha, who we both sort of looked at a couple of weeks ago and thought, nah, just because his stats were so poor, and he had all season he had 2 games where he did okay, but he's just gone back to being a really poor fantasy asset again. I mean, they played Watford, didn't they? This game week just gone. And you'd expect him to do some damage against their backline, but it was awful, wasn't he?
So yeah, the 2 weeks since everyone got him, he's had 3 and 2 points. Yeah. Obviously, he had that haul before. I think it was of 13 points or something. And then everyone sort of like, oh yeah, Zaha, their fixture swing, let's get on him now. In those 2 weeks, he's had an XG of 0.09, XA of 0.16, and 1 shot. And 2 key passes, and in 2 great fixtures as well. He's trolled at least 6 or 7% of the FPL community that have got onto him, of ownership at least. And like you said, we thought it might happen with his trolly nature, but I could see why people did it. The promise was there, and I don't think you should get off him yet, playing the fixtures with Palace because they got such great fixtures. So hopefully you get rewarded this week.
Yeah, I hope so.
Although hopefully not because I got Ryan. But
I think Brighton have scored in 2 goals on each of their last 2 trips to Sellers Park, but they're in bad form in the league, only 1 win and 4, and none of I had a little look just to see if any of their assets were going to be interesting. They've still got really mixed fixtures. Crystal Palace, Sheffield United, Tottenham, Bournemouth, Chelsea are their next 5. I've got to say 3 of them are at home against Sheffield United, Bournemouth and Chelsea. But yeah, none of their players really enticed me that much. There's Mupai, who's got the most points in the last 4, but that's only 20. So he's not sort of digging up any or pulling up any trees with that. 8 shots in the box in 4, XG of 1.1. It's not really very investable.
What about old Matty Ryan? You don't want to swap from Popey to Matty Ryan? If
I want to swap from,
I want to
swap from Popey, I want to get someone who's like a clean sheep keeper, maybe like Guaita, but
Matt Ryan.
No, not Matt Ryan. Maybe like Guaita, maybe.
No.
Yeah, Guaita would be good. Look at all their fixtures.
Yeah, he has been good, of course, but you got off Sheffield United double defence. You don't want to get on Crystal Palace.
No, but I could go back to Sheffield United double defence with Henderson. Oh, Kieran. Anyway, let's not talk about goalkeepers. Shall we do all our fun bits and then wrap it up? Yeah, I didn't have a lot to say on that last one, so we can move on. Do you want to talk about captaincy really briefly and just confirm that you and I are both going for Vardy?
Vardy.
Yeah, okay, I thought as much.
That's all I need to say.
That's all you need to say. Who are you going to go for Cougar Cup pick? Because I believe it's your go this week to choose someone.
Okay, so I did have randomly Oxlade-Chamberlain, but I'm not going to go for him.
Random.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Richarlison.
Okay.
7.1%
United.
At United. United always seem to concede one, and I think United are going to want to try on the counter attack. And I think Everton G'd up, good win against Chelsea. I think they'll get something in, and he should be involved.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm going to play it a little bit safer than that. I'm going to say Johnny Evans at Leicester.
I thought you were going to go Danny Ings.
Did you? No, I can't go Danny Ings again. I've had too many Danny Ings Cougar Cup picks. Nah.
I was thinking about Evans, but I can't see him being consistent enough.
He's shot right up. I mean, a couple of weeks ago we were saying as soon as he gets a goal or assist, people are going to realise he's been doing really well. So he's now had a goal and assist, I think, in 2 of his last 3, and he's now outscoring Soyuncu and Chilwell, I believe. So, and I think he's had a price rise because of it. So I'm gonna stick on Johnny Evans and hope he gets some more attacking returns from a corner.
Can you believe it? We're talking about Johnny Evans, the ex-United reject, as just being so good.
He's been like
it's crazy.
He's a Premier League winner. He's got the pedigree of being a top defender. So
maybe Chris Smalling needed to go to Everton or Leicester, but I suppose he's doing the business in Roma now, and he
is indeed
turning into a good defender somewhere else.
Right. While I just bring up some of these community questions. We'll rattle through a few of these before we round up. Because I've got them on a laptop because I've not written them down. Do you want to pick out some clean sheets and then do the transfers?
Okay, so I think we both think Liverpool will get one. I hope so anyway. Leicester, I think, is a question mark because I think Pukki can score. And then I've got Chelsea down here tentatively as well. They're playing Bournemouth, who can't seem to score at the moment. But Harry Wilson free kick. I can see that happening as well. So honestly, I don't think there's many this week. I think there might be 1 or 2 at best this week.
Okay.
Maybe one of the Crystal Palace Brighton could go either way.
Definitely Kelly. Definitely Kelly.
Nah.
Definitely Kelly. Or
oh God, you're gonna make me want to start him. But...
Okay. Well, that's all. Transfers. You've just mentioned yours, haven't you?
Yeah, Jimenez to Rashford, Mount to Grealish, 2 free transfers. I've got 0 in the bank now, annoyingly, but that needed to happen just so I could support Rashford going forward.
Yeah, amazingly, we hadn't pre-planned this, but Kieran and I basically wanted to make exactly the same transfers this week, and I found out when I asked him what he was doing, and he said the transfers, and I said, well, that's what I want to do. So we've been really boring. I needed to take a 4-point hit to do it, though, to get to Mori.
We know it's boring and we shouldn't have the same teams, but we didn't discuss it, and it's just what's best for our teams. So
I know
that's how it is. Everyone, sorry.
I know it's a shame we haven't got more different teams, but I know I couldn't believe it. But you didn't have Tomori, and now I don't have Tomori either. So it's boring as well. Right then, let's get to some questions because that's more interesting, and people have actually sent in some good ones. So let's whiz through these. Perhaps we'll do a question each. Kieran, are you ready?
Give them to me.
Hot fire question round from Lee Brunt, who all said, "Give me a shout out on your show." So Lee, can see yourself shouted out. He said, "Bench or sell."
What's up, Lee?
Yeah. He said, "Bench or sell Liverpool assets after game week 18." After game week 18, give me a shout. I guess he means 4 game week 18. Because I don't know about benching. Don't know about selling them. Anyway, it's your question.
Okay, so it depends how much he has. As we said earlier, if he has 3, I think you probably sell one. Someone like, I guess, Salah, if you probably don't have any value in him now. Sell him for 18, get someone like Ali or Son, and then possibly bring him back afterwards.
Yeah.
And then bench the other 2. Or, I don't know, free hit is an option, or a wild card is an option, but I think benching is just easier, and it's only 1 game.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree.
But yeah, going forward, there's an argument to get rid of them with their tough fixtures, and they're not exactly blowing teams away. And Trent obviously hasn't returned well, and he's a cash cow. So, I'm considering not having any of them actually.
Really?
But
This question's.
But at the same time, I'm considering bringing Salah in as well.
Oh.
So, but carry on. Let's
God, I didn't realise you were so.
I think that there's still good options.
Yeah, I didn't realise you were so conflicted on Liverpool. I'm keeping all my players.
Yeah, I probably will too.
Cameron Collins said, "Is Rashford a must at this point?" I'll take this one really briefly and just say I think so. Yes, I mean his stats are looking really good. He's passing the eye test really well, and he does have good fixtures. There has been a bit of a myth surrounding him, isn't there, that he doesn't do so well in the small games. But I mean his numbers have been really consistent this season, and he's scored against all types of teams, and he's on penalties, and United have a hell of a lot of them. So.
Yeah, I think I had a stat that I didn't read out earlier. He's only blanked 5 times this season. And if he scored the penalties that he missed, he would have been the top scorer.
Wow.
So
yeah, and he's on course to obviously smash. I think he's tied now, or he's broken his highest ever season goal scoring record, which was only 10. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's good. Gravy Dave, can I just say great name first of all on YouTube? He said triple Brighton from game week 20 onwards. Gravy Dave, I don't know what you're talking about there. Don't know what you're talking about. Triple Brighton? No. I don't think so.
Hold on.
No, maybe triple Brighton for your bench. Maybe that's a lot of faith in Brighton assets. Kieran, give me.
They have good fixtures.
Have they quite good? Are they?
They are good. Yeah.
Maybe,
but no.
Maybe.
I think Mopai is definitely worth looking at, and Trossard possibly, assuming he's in the team. But no.
Cool. We've got all the people with the great names coming out tonight. We've got Ethan London. I mean, Jesus, he could be like a spy or something. Okay, right. Do you have any advice for me? Who to start as my last spot between Grealish, Dunk, Lundstram, and Muse? Kieran, that's your question. Who would you start out of those? We've got that quandary a little bit because of Grealish and Lundstram, you and I.
Oh, he must have a decent squad.
He must have a decent. I was thinking that.
Probably Grealish, or Lundstram. Grealish just to back the attacker, I guess, and he's in form.
Yeah.
Lundstram's not in form, and they haven't kept a clean sheet in ages. So yeah, Grealish, I think.
Yeah. Alex Britchford said, "Is double Spurs attacker expensive KDB after the Arsenal game a wise decision?" Alex, it's like you've been listening to the show already because Kieran and I are thinking about that already. KDB could be sacrificed for Ali, and or I mean, in your case, if you haven't got Son, then yeah, for Son. Let's see if anyone else has got a good question. Peter Cruz said, "Get rid of Liverpool defence after Watford double Spurs attack." Never thought he'd say that. So I think it seems like we're getting a bit of a consensus that people are really keen on that Spurs. And to be honest, getting rid of Trent has been something I've been considering. If they aren't keeping many of these clean sheets in a time where we expected them to get 1 or 2, obviously Trent got benched for 1, which was really irritating. And maybe it is time to downgrade to a slightly cheaper defender and getting that extra fourth midfielder to be like a double Spurs mid. I mean, at the moment, you and I have got this 6 million fourth mid who, if Trent went down to 4, that could easily become a Dele Alli or Son.
Yeah.
Cool. Don't know if there's any more quick questions. Let me just see. No, I think we've answered pretty much everyone's questions. Thanks for sending them in. Marios, Cameron, Anthony, Taffy. Basically, all their questions they sent in, we've answered on the show. So I hope you enjoy and thank you for submitting them. Kieran, is there anything else you want to add? I feel like we've done a really long show.
No, nothing else to add.
Nothing else
that's
to
good.
add. Okay.
I think we're good.
We'll be back next week probably on Tuesday next week with a preview for game week 18. Until then, everyone, have a great game week. It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye. Cheers and good luck.
Bye.